as she mentioned, we have been partners with Gurtam for 6 or 7 years right now. Since we started in the telematics and fleet management area. And then a couple of years ago, we decided we want to expand our business with Gurtam. So we decided to enter a new space, which is IoT space. First, let me briefly explain what's IoT. Of course, IoT has lots of definitions. If you search the web, you'll find lots of definitions about IoT. One of the definitions that I like is that IoT is a network of smart devices, sensors, and actuators that can interconnect with each other. So basically, you have a set of IoT devices. These devices can be sensors, can be actuators. They communicate with something called IoT hub, and then the IoT hub communicates over the internet to a back-end system. Fleet management is an application of IoT. So the tracking device that you use is actually an IoT hub. The sensors you attach to this tracking device are IoT devices. This chart shows the growth, the expectation, the forecast of the growth of the IoT market starting 2015 until 2055. As you can see from this chart, there's a huge market for IoT. The growth is still very huge. So this is a good market that we can all work with. It's still very healthy and very growing. Okay, what considerations we have to take, or we took when we are building an IoT solution? First of all, the sensors and actuators that we are going to use. There are different types of sensors: temperature, humidity sensors, gas sensors, electric and magnetic sensors. The gateway, what type of gateways are we going to use? There are various types of gateway. Some of them are wired, where the sensors are connected to the IoT gateway through wires. Some gateways are wireless, using different types of technologies. Connectivity, how to connect between the sensors and the gateway. Either wired, as I said, Bluetooth, LoRa technology, Wi-Fi, and MQTT. The cloud platform, or the back-end platform that the IoT devices are going to send the data to, Gurtam is, of course, our first choice. Thingsborn, Amazon, and Azure, and of course, many, many others. Okay, now I'm going to show you some of the use cases and some of the projects that we have implemented, some of the IoT projects that we have implemented. There's a food service company. They had a problem. They had huge fridges where they store food products, and the temperature of the fridge is used to be constant with a certain temperature. If the temperature falls or rises above a certain limit, the food product itself will have problems. There is huge waste in this storage. So what solution did we propose to the customer? There's a huge number of fridges or big fridges over a big area, so it was difficult to connect the sensors to the gateway using wires. So what we did is that we chose wireless sensors. They work with a technology called the LoRa technology. I'm not sure if you are aware of the LoRa technology or not. The LoRa technology is a wireless technology with a range of up to 5 kilometers. So you can place the sensor in a certain place and the gateway in another place, and the distance can be up to 5 kilometers. So you don't have to lay any wires or so on and so forth. And we use Sensulator as the front-end interface. This is a sample. This is a screenshot that the customer can see. They can see for each fridge the temperature, and it shows them the green range, the amber, and the red range. So if the temperature is within the green range, then the temperature is okay and the customer doesn't have a problem. In some cases, the temperature is in the amber range, so there is a problem and the customer has to know why the temperature is not right. Okay, another project we have implemented is for a beverages company. It's a very interesting project actually. You know, beverages company distribute small coolers or small fridges to their small shops and supermarkets and so on to store their products. So, and this give it for free, so the customer doesn't have to pay anything for those fridges. So in fact, most beverage companies are doing the same. So you will find Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Heineken, everyone is distributing their fridges to small shops and supermarkets. What happens is that when you go to a shop, you can find 4 or 5 fridges. at least in Egypt, you can find 4 or 5 fridges, only 1 or 2 fridges are working, and maybe storing different products. So you can find a Heineken fridge storing Pepsi products. Of course, this is not good for the company itself. So what they wanted to do is that they wanted to remotely monitor the fridges. They want to know first if the fridge is working or not. They want to know if the customer, if the shop is using it or not. So they asked us, they want to monitor the temperature inside the fridge. So if the temperature is within the working temperature, then the customer is using the fridge. One other thing they wanted to know if the door of the fridge is being opened or not. How many times the door is opened and closed during the day. It gives them an indication whether the customer is really using the fridge or not, the products are being sold or not. The third thing they wanted to do is to remotely control the fridge itself. So if they found out that the shop is using the fridge to store other products, competitive products, they can remotely turn off the fridge.
How do they know? How do they know that?
Because the salesperson goes to the customer to sell the product. So if a salesperson reports that the fridge is used to store other products, they can remotely turn it off. Another project is a very interesting project as well. It's a poultry farm, chicken farm. Poultry or chicken is very, very sensitive to environmental conditions, certain environmental conditions. So it's very sensitive to temperature, very sensitive to humidity, some gases like ammonia and CO2. The customer has huge waste. Chicken simply dies. So every day they found that lots of chicken died because of temperature goes up or goes down above or below certain limits. So the customer requested to be able to remotely monitor those environmental conditions. So they wanted to monitor 4 environmental factors: temperature, humidity, ammonia, and CO2. So what we did is that we implemented a solution. We implemented some sensors, temperature, humidity, ammonia, and CO2 sensors, connected it to a gateway, and then the customer through this screen can see remotely from any place what is the condition inside the farm. So if the customer can found that a certain environmental condition is above or below a certain limit, they can take action immediately. Finally, there's another interesting project as well. It's a bakery factory. It was the first time for me to know that bread is a real industry, and it's a complicated industry in fact. So in the process of making bread, after the customer mixes the ingredients of the bread, it goes through a process called the fermentation process. When the fermentation process, the bread enters into trays, and then it is subjected to a certain temperature and steam for a certain period of time. It goes in a cycle inside what's called a proofer. This is an image of the proofer. It's a very huge chamber where trays enter from one side, and then it rotates inside the proofer for a certain period of time under certain temperature and humidity conditions. If the temperature is not right, or if the humidity is not right, the waste in the ingredients itself is very high. The waste is about 20 or 25%. We're talking here about hundreds of thousands of US dollars of waste. So the customer wanted to know why this is happening. This proofer, it has some screens, fixed screens that shows them the temperature and humidity at at a certain point. But the customer wanted to know through the cycle of the tray itself what temperature and humidity it was subjected to during the whole cycle. So what we did is that we installed some temperature and humidity sensor in the tray itself, in the bread tray itself. And it starts moving with the tray inside this proofer through the whole cycle. So after the bread comes out, the customer can print a report, and it shows them the distribution of temperature and humidity throughout the cycle of the tray. And again, this is a screen showing the customer in live what is the temperature and humidity at each point in time. So in these conditions, the temperature is high, the optimum range is from 34 to 39. At this point specifically, the temperature is in the red range. So the customer can know that they have a problem in this and they have to correct it, and they know the location, the exact location where this condition was not correct, and they can fix it. benefits of the IoT projects. IoT projects are different. They're not normal projects, they're not normal use cases, but in my opinion, we found out that they have a very high ROI. As you saw from the previous example, these are simple projects. The cost is not very high, but the customer really found a very high benefit out of them. They managed to correct their operations in a way or another. It's a quick payback in few months, and in some cases, from the cases I've said before, the payback was less than a few weeks. So the investment the customer paid in this solution, the return is in less than a few weeks. It's very easy to convince management. If you go to management with the correct solution and the correct use case, management will not take time to think about it even. Gross margins are very high. So the competition is not very high in such solutions. So it's very profitable for the company. And finally, variety of use cases. There are lots of use cases. The difficult thing is that you have to understand the business, you have to understand the customer problem. If you manage to understand the business and the customer problem and come with the correct use case, I think it will be very easy for you to convince the customer. Thank you.
Thank you. For the case of the refrigerator, did it make sense for the client to pay that much for a GPS device, sensor, and subscription? Because the fridge cost is like $50, $60, and to monitor that is going to have to pay like $200 for a GPS and a yearly subscription. How did you convince him to do that?
You are correct, but if you take the cost of the fridge itself into consideration and the waste the customer is paying, the amount of money the customer is paying without getting any true return on investment, it is not that hard to convince the customer. I understand that to install a device in every fridge might be in some cases expensive, but we try to use a solution that is not complicated. In this specific case, we used Teltonica devices. They are not very expensive.
920?
FMB 120. Yeah, so it's $30 or $35 the tracker itself. So it is not really very expensive, but it saves lots of money. And again, if the fridge really works, the return on investment for the customer is very high. The problem is that if the fridge is idle, the customer is not getting a return on investment.
First of all, very interesting presentation, so thank you. For the bread factory example, you said there was wireless sensors for temperature and humidity.
Yes, LoRa sensors, yes.
LoRa, so
Yes.
that was my question.
Yes.
So how does the owner know exactly where on the belt that temperature was there?
Okay, there are two actually, I didn't mention the whole solution correctly. There are two sets of sensors. There are some fixed sensors in some certain locations, and there is the rotating sensors. So while the sensor starts moving, the customer knows by two things: by time, because there is a fixed cycle. Since the tray starts moving, it takes around 50 minutes or 55 minutes. So if they have a message after 10 minutes, for instance, then they can know where inside the proofer itself the problem is. Okay.
How are you choosing the sensors or hardware for your project? Because it's not software part, but it's hardware. I think it's quite difficult
Yes,
to find it.
As I mentioned, there are a variety of hardware solutions here. To be honest, when we started this business, we didn't know which hardware or which solutions to choose. So we started talking to our partners, including Gurtam, of course, and from Gurtam we got some recommendations. If you want wireless gateways, you can go, in this case we are using T-Zone as wireless gateways, and we got this recommendation from Gurtam. The other thing is that we really received lots of help from Gurtam in such solutions. Lots of the gateways we are using were not certified with Gurtam. So we came to Gurtam and said, okay, we want to certify this hardware on your platform, and we worked with the hardware team for a long time, sometimes weeks, to certify this platform. And in many cases, this solution is now certified in Gurtam, so we don't have to use other solutions.